Alrighty, welcome everyone to game number 1 between MVP and NSHoSeo. It is going to be the KSL here tonight. I am Unstable, joined here by Railcoon. We have, of course, MVP Noblesse as our red Terran at the top right. And we have NSHoSeo's Fairy down at the bottom left as our green Zerg. It's going to be Daybreak for the map, and it's going to be starting off. We've had some intense games over the last couple of days. Railcoon, this is the first time you've been able to catch these games with me because you slept in yesterday. How rude.
I set an alarm. I forgot to turn the alarm on, so it didn't actually go off. That's usually helpful when you set the alarms. But to be fair, with your audio failure, it wouldn't have helped much anyways, so...
Yeah. But we do see, of course, the barracks placement by Noblesse here. This is going to mess with my head because both of them are using different IDs in-game. Because the Koreans keep changing their clans and teams and all around. But Fairy has come up with his drone, seen that there's no barracks here, but he has seen the gas come in. So one of the biggest places he's probably going to send his drone is down over here because he's expecting that Overlord. As I was talking with Wolf yesterday, that the Overlord scouting patterns are actually drastically changing at the moment because these Terrans are starting to get a hold of things. NSHoSeo, Jack G pulled it out against Lenok, got his Overlord early in almost every game.
Yeah.
Really frustrating.
I think it was every game.
It was pretty much.
I think that pretty much was every one, unless there was a... Yeah, like, I think there was one game where it didn't happen, and that was because Lenok was just being super aggressive and he didn't have time to do it. But, yeah, that was pretty much everything. And, if it wasn't going to be there for the Overlord, then it probably would have been somewhere else that he could find it pretty easily. But you can see that he lifts up that barrack, sees there's no Overlord here, he's like, well, okay.
Fine.
Now he's flying back up, he's going to make the reactor. It does slow down the reactor a bit, as you can see. So it is going to be a little bit more delayed than what you'd usually be, but if that pays off, it's definitely worth that little bit of a delay.
Yeah, well, the reactor should be almost in time with that. Looking over here for Fairy, and I'm just noticing both these guys have the manliest names ever in their actual IDs.
Shoot and Fairy.
But we wouldn't be surprised to see a defensive spine crawler go down. That is the normal in this matchup at the moment, especially on this map. Very wide open space that Hellions can come through. But a lot of good wall-offs has been being shown by our Korean players these days. Looks like the first Queen from the natural is going to throw down a creep tumor rather than a lava inject. With two Marines that have crossed across the map here, trying to put a little bit of pressure on, this one Queen can definitely handle those, but he needs to be careful of this SCV. But
yeah, the SCV is too low health for it to really pose too much of a threat. He's got this spine crawler in position where he's probably going to drop an evolution chamber here to make a little bit of a choke point on the ramp. That's the thing, is even though this choke is kind of wide on Daybreak, it's relatively easy to choke it off with some buildings and make it pretty narrow.
Yeah.
So that's why you see this pretty often from Zerg players. Nice positioning on the Queen against the Hellion, but since there's only the one Hellion, it's not really too much of a threat at the moment. He's just poking around trying to make him nervous. He's probably not going to commit to anything until these next two Hellions come out, though.
Yeah, we actually see Fairy's put a creep tumor at the top of the ramp as well, so he can transfer Queens between his bases if he's needed to. So that one Queen is purely on creep tumor duty at the moment. At the same time, we have a third Commander already going up, as we saw before that Noblesse does have his natural done, and that's a very quick third going up for him. We saw the difference in playstyle yesterday between I Am's Happy and Dreamer, TT, where near the end of those games, one game was very economic heavy and the other one was very low eco, and it played very differently. Of course, the result of that you can actually go and look up the VODs for. I'm not going to spoil it for you. And interestingly enough here, he's actually moved his factory off of that reactor, put down a second barracks, so no starport anywhere close at the moment. But these Hellions are going to be trying to be annoying against this macro hatch here.
Yeah, he's just giving that a little bit of a roast toasty with those Hellions. It's not going to do a whole lot except be annoying. It's paying Fairy's, mini-map. He's trying to force the Queen to come forward, because if he can't actually stop him from doing this, the hatchery will take a good amount of damage.
Yeah.
He's probably not going to kill it, but it's going to get really low health to the point where a follow-up attack can probably take that down pretty easily. So he's making very nervous right now. Yeah. This is a really good thing to be doing with these Hellions. And you can see he's just making sure that Fairy's paying attention by poking around with these Hellions. If he slacks off, then maybe he'll be able to slip by. But look at that. That hatchery's half health right now. after those Hellions. So that's a pretty good amount of damage from Hellions on a building.
Yeah, but now he's going to leapfrog these Spine Crawlers forward with the Creep Tumors, force the Hellions out down the ramp most likely. They're not going to be able to do enough damage before these actually happen. And oh, we got a lot of Lings sneaking out to the left. I'm not sure if Noblesse saw that happen, but there's only a few Marines and a tank. That is natural. There is not much here to really defend against. Baneling Nest on the way, of course, with the lair about 30% of the way through.
Uh-oh.
And he's actually going to get a surround on these Hellions. Nicely done by Fairy. Forced them right into a corner. Can't go anywhere. He's going to get a couple of Zergling kills, but nowhere near as many as he'd want to. That was a good 6 to 7 Hellions lost right there for Noblesse. Nice start by Fairy. And look at this. Noblesse was actually moving out with his forces and has to go home now. There's nothing he can do about it. But Stim is finishing
without those
up.
Hellions,
So
this army is really, really weak at this point in the game. I mean, he doesn't even have Siege finished yet. It only just started. It's 20 seconds in. That's not a lot of Marines. They don't have any upgrades. He really needed those Hellions to keep that army together, so that was a really good job there by Fairy. Probably be able to secure a third base off that, but he's actually still going for the Baneling speed, pumping out a lot of Zerglings. So it looks like he's probably going to try and make something aggressive happen off of that instead of dropping third base like we'd see a lot of other Zerg players do right there.
yeah, it's definitely becoming more and more common for the macro hatch. Lots of Ling, Baneling forces in the mid game. We can see here that Fairy's also going for Burrow and as well Spire on the way too. And this is really similar to the way Lenok was playing yesterday. A little bit different of a wall off, but same overly game plan. He's got the +1 armor for his Zerglings early as well to help negate some of this damage. Of course, it is 20% of the damage total once you get that +1 armor upgrade. Overseer comes through the base here for Noblesse and actually sees everything, so nicely done by Fairy. And he's also seen in the middle of the map with a Zergling on the watchtower. We've seen Noblesse coming forward, so Fairy playing very solid already.
Yeah, this Spire's about to finish up, but he just doesn't have enough minerals to make that many Mutalisks. But look at this cute Noblesse. I did it. I knew he was going to do it. Noblesse is actually just backing off, and one of the tanks going to get caught completely alone by the Zerglings. Noblesse sieging up at the last second just to make sure he doesn't lose anything more, but just a quick snipe on the tanks there. It's going to help him out quite a bit. That third command center from Noblesse is only just now flying down to the third base. He's had that for what? 6 minutes or something crazy like that.
Yeah, well, he's
just
able
been
to
using it
utilize
to make
the
a lot of
mules.
workers.
Looking at the worker count, 54 to 67, so he's saturated both his bases quite nicely. We also do see the command center moving across by Fairy as well. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Fairy take a 4th base very soon at the same time, just to try and get that economic advantage over Noblesse. A lot of Zergs really need to have these days. But interestingly, we do have Baneling mines over here at the top of the ramp. We saw when I believe it was Happy versus Lenok yesterday. He was scanning every single time, but the one time he doesn't, he lost like half of his Marines. Like the one time, literally. He moved out like 100 times during the game, but just once is all it takes for that to be slipped up. And we also have more Baneling mines over here. So looking at the upgrades now for Noblesse, he is at 1-1. No extra upgrades on the way at the moment. The armor is only just finishing up now, which is a bit of an oversight by him. But still, we do see the...
Oh man, they're everywhere now, unstable. He's got him right down the ramp outside the third, coming up towards that southern portion. And it's something that you're talking about, Lenok. It showed us that just setting up Baneling mines in lots of positions, they're cheap. And if you force a scan, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to imagine that at least one of these isn't going to connect at some point, given that he's already got these set up, this many Baneling mines set up 13 minutes into the game. If he keeps committing to this, and this goes for a long game, this could get kind of painful for Noblesse. Just walk into a Baneling mine, lose all of the Marines at a crucial point in the game.
Well, there are 14 meters on the field now. How many times is that one? What? Sorry?
One games for Lenok, just like watching him in tournaments. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. So 16 meters on the field, finally starting to be a little bit aggressive here for Fairy.
Scanned the first one.
Does. You have to do it these days. You don't have any other choice. As we say that, the 4th base for Fairy is finishing up the top left-hand corner. It's looking very strong at the moment, getting +1 flyer attacks, not what +1 armor like Lenok was doing yesterday when he was playing on this map against Happy. But at the same time, we do, of course, only have the +1 armor for the Zerglings, +1 attack on the way as well. But he's actually, he's missed a live interject for quite a while in his main here. Lots of energy on that Queen. At the same time, we have Spine Crawlers going down at the top left-hand base to stop any kind of thing happening there.
Just look at how nervous Noblesse is with his army positioning here.
Whoa! What is Fairy doing right there? That is
short
what
distances. Oh, and he missed the Baneling Mines just barely. Oh, okay, guess he won.
Sees one.
So he actually got to scan one Baneling. That's the point where if he walks over that, Fairy might as well detonate that anyway, just to do a ton of damage to the army.
Yeah.
But he doesn't actually walk over it, because if there's one Baneling, there's going to be a second one. And it's not worth a second scan there in most instances. So he's just going to move forward, break down the center rocks, and just look at how he's not moving very far away from the center of the map at the moment. Now that he's got the 2 Thors, he's starting to be a little bit more aggressive here.
But he is cornering this army here at the moment. And these Banglings are going to go straight into tanks if you're not careful. Sorry to cut you off there, Relkun, but it looked a little bit tricky there for Fairy. Barely got away, but he's +2 for both armor and attack for his Lings on the way. And he needs to find a way to engage his army nicely. They're both maxed out, and it looks like Noblesse is now going to be at 2-2 as well. +1 vehicle weapons only halfway done though here. And whoa! Looks like he's going to go for it.
It's only 6 tanks as well. That's not a lot of tanks for this point in the game. Almost all the tanks going down immediately. The Banelings are streaming, and Noblesse didn't even Marine split very much because he just barely able to kill them all with some really good focus fire. He actually forced Fairy to have to take out the tanks with the Banelings as well.
And at the same time, he's attacking the top left-hand corner here, Relkun. And this Spine Crawler doesn't look like he's going to be able to hold. There's still 5 Marines there as he comes up this natural ramp, and he's actually going to take out the Evo Chamber, doing a lot of upgrades. But here come the Banelings. They are getting a complete surround on these Marines, not where Noblesse wants to be, and he will be able to clean that up. But there's the 2 Thors blocking the rest of the Marines at the bottom of the ramp from those Banelings. Very lucky by Noblesse. I do not think that was intentional at all. But there's still 40 Lings in production, and Fairy is down on supply. He has cleaned up the attack at the north base. But at what cost here, Relkun? Down 30 supply, only just now going to Hive.
All the mutas died.
And all the mutas have died, exactly.
Every single muta went down to those Thors there. After those original ones got caught. It looks pretty bad for Noblesse because he only had like 6 tanks at this point in the game. But he just focused fire really well against those Banelings. That was really impressive.
And you do have a surround coming in from his Zerglings.
Yeah, that's... Oh! Loading up there at the last second because, hey, the mutas are dead. Like, why not? There's nothing that Fairy can do at this point. So this is actually getting kind of brutal for Fairy at this point. He's 30 supply behind, but just that little bit of a micro there by lifting up to the Medivacs shows you how important those Mutalisks are, because all those units would have died if there were still any on the field.
And at this point, Noblesse has taken the middle base because he was building command center earlier, as we showed. He's got a nice bunker defending his 3rd from any kind of run-bys that might happen. A scan has gone down, sees that one Baneling and the creep trying to be spread over here. But there's a lot of Lings. They're actually going to be caught by these Marines in the middle. They're actually going to go for it and lost half of his Zerglings there. Very unfortunate for Fairy. He's pretty much falling apart in the late game here, as we do see all these Marines coming forward, going for it. We're going to lose a lot of Overlords. He's only just now got his Greatest Spire on the way, and it just doesn't look like he has enough forces at all to deal with these Marines in the middle of his natural now. He's going to lose a lot of tech structures. He's even going to lose the Greatest Spire, and I think that could be the beginning of the end here for him. And he's trying to come in from the north on all of these Marines, but they're already semi-spread out here for Noblesse, and he's going to get his natural hatchery as well. 190 supply to 110. Things not looking good for Fairy at all, Relkun.
Yeah, that was some pretty good micro with the Marines there against the last 2 Banelings as they came in. The natural's down. There's the GG. So that's going to put...
MVP 1-0 in this match already. So good start by them.
I had to stop and think about it because Fairy has the MVP tag on him in-game. I'm like, no, MVP just won.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a deceptive thing there. But alright, so we'll jump into the next game. These games are live, of course. This is the KSL MVP versus NSHoSeo. Let's see who NSHoSeo send out next. Of course, Fairy going down to Noblesse. It should be interesting, Relkun.
I'm going to restart Skype again really quick, because you roboted right at the end there.
Okay.
Did everything still sound fine
I didn't hear any complaints, so... Probably.
Okay.
Alright, I'll see you in a second.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Relkun's too shy for a webcam. That's why he doesn't have one. Alright, so let's have a quick think about NSHoSeo's lineup. They have a lot of unknown players. A lot of people really don't give them the credit they deserve. Like, yes, they had Jack G, Sage, the big namers there, of course. Their long name is NSHoSeo, and Hoseo is actually a team. Sorry, it's not a team. It's a university over there in South Korea. But of course, they have Barnes, they have San, Tassadar, Seal. They also have Sculpt. Seal and Sculpt play a bit of a good role in their team leagues so far. Yep. Sound better?
What?
Do I sound better?
Sounds the same. Did you close Steam?
Yeah. You sound perfectly fine to me. Alright, so looks like Seal is up next, from what I can see in this chat, which is nice. Another a ZVZ coming up. We haven't seen a ZVZ at all in the KSL for the team league this week. It's going to be good.
Wait, we're actually going to see a ZVZ?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Alright. Okay, so the map is going to be... oh my god, I'm mental blanking on the map. It is, of course, Antiga Shipyards. I'll forget about that for a second.
Oh my god, my internet's taking a dump.
That's weird, because I can hear you perfectly fine.
I just did a speed test and it gave me like a 1 megabit download speed.
Wow.
Seriously?
That is quite bad.
What the hell? It's normally like 30.
That's very interesting. Alright, so we are going to have Seal up against Noblesse. It is going to be TVZ coming up next, of course. If it gets really bad, I can just solo cast it again. That's fine. I actually have a lot of energy at the moment. Alright, game is starting, Railkin. Let's get into this, shall we?
I don't see you in the game yet.
What do you mean? I'm in the game already. Oh, you're not in here.
Oh, that's looking... There we go. Oh, what?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's right. Open up the stream. There you go. Gotta pay attention to these things.
I was joining and downloading the map, and then it gave me the error.
That's alright. I shall soldier on. Alright, so up next, of course, we have NSHoSeo Seal as our blue Zerg down here at the bottom right-hand corner for NSHoSeo. And, of course, the top right, top left is going to be MVP Noblesse taking out Fairy in the last game on a Daybreak. There's going to be another TVZ. Not a ZVZ, because we got who won mixed up, because they're silly names. But Antiga Shipyard is an interesting map to choose here for Seal. And I'm going to wait for Railgun to get that stream open so we can actually discuss things with me. But it is, of course, a best of 11 between these two teams here. The winner of this will actually go on into the next round. It is going to be a tournament style for the rest of the week, with a break, of course, on the 31st and the 1st for New Year's. But that's alright, we'll keep going after the break. Now, interestingly, nothing's happened just yet. We did see Noblesse go for a nice Brax positioning on Daybreak to try and catch an Overlord. Probably not going to see it in this map. There's not really any places you can place one that is too interesting. Of course, we do see, looks like he's going to go put it at the top of his ramp. But this, we have 14 supply down here for Seal. Okay, so we're most likely going to see a 15 hatch as my legs give out on me because I've gone to the gym this week for the first time in years. Okay, so gas on the way now for Noblesse. How you going, Railcoon? Ready to go?
What?
What?
I can't, like, understand you right now because Skype is messing up.
Awesome. Sounds like fun. Okay, so...
I'm trying to figure out how to fix this currently.
Alrighty, so we, of course, have that hatchery going down for Seal. Seal, from what I've seen play, the first time I ever saw Seal play was against FXO Oz back in GSTL Season 1. And he played very Ling Infesta heavy in that ZVP. So he definitely is, sometimes can be non-standard in his play. So it'd be great to see. I always love watching non-standard games just to see how it works out. Because of course these guys have practiced it enough to actually feel confident to use it in this kind of situation. But we'll see what Seal wants to go for. Noblesse obviously is a fan of that Reactor Hellion opening. We do have the gas here, of course. There's only about 20 gas at the moment because he just dropped down his factory. As soon as I looked at that, it always happens to me. I look at something and like a split second before I look at it, something else has happened to make a change. This happens with the drone counts as well. The players hate me. Alright, so looking at the vision here, this is of course the GSL version of Antiga. Is no gold minerals in the middle of the map, and of course forced cross positions. This SCV getting a very good see out, seeing exactly what's going on. Even saw the gas timing here for Seal at the same time. And he's not going to have a delayed reactor onto that factory as in last game, just because the barracks isn't going to be floating over. And there's the command center as well. And we see this from a lot of Terrans these days. They use these Hellions not really to do damage these days, because a lot of Zergs have learned how to wall off and defend properly, but more to contain the Zerg into their base and secure a safe expansion behind it, getting that economy up as fast as possible. So I'm just going to quickly change that over so I can see what's going on. Alright. Now, looking over here, we do actually see a Zergling come in here, scouts both Hellions and the command center as well. So he is going to be able to have a good idea on what's going on. At the same time, we do not have speed just yet. Probably going to be instantly done as soon as he gets that gas. Seal, you have the gas? There it is. Going straight down there. We do have the defensive spine crawler at the front of the map. But whoa! Hello. We have a very quick third command center. He did this in the last game as well. So, this could be interesting. Like, it did work out quite well for him. He kept that command center in his base for quite a while. Just feeding into the extra SCVs to saturate those two bases as soon as possible. The two Hellions are at the front of the base here, but two Queens are enough to throw them off. We've got two more coming out of the factory, of course. And I'm surprised we don't actually see a Evo chamber. Complete the wall off here. Looks like Seal is going to push forward with that spine crawler, trying to get range on the ramp, and there's a macro hatch going down as well. I was going to say, usually you see that wall off going forward. Nicely done. And there's now 4 Hellions at the front of the base. And we saw this exact same situation where Noblesse took half the health down of the hatchery of Fairy, but whoa, one of those Hellions almost in range of that spine crawler, and the Queens are going to come out and try and be frustrating here. 10 drones in production by Seal. And there's the Evo chamber there. Okay, so it's actually getting his double extra gas down here at the natural. No lair on the way just yet. He is floating about 200 at the moment. It's not supply capped. So we'll see where he wants to go with those resources, pushing his spine crawler forward even further. And behind this, we see Noblesse, of course, just going into your standard marine tank. Very standard from the last game as well. Looking at the unit positioning here for Seal, he's going to see any drops coming down here at the north and the south positions by his overlords. But I'm surprised he hasn't got one sitting right here. This would be a big blind spot just coming in this section here. Very commonly used by a lot of Terrans. But with his lair on the way, should be able to get some Aspire up fairly shortly. And because of this extra macro hatch, and of course has 3 Queens in total, he will actually be able to get a lot of Zerglings and Banelings out, and might actually catch the Hellions, just like we saw Fairy do in the early game of versus Noblesse on Daybreak. So, could go either way at this point, both of them playing very passive. Noblesse hasn't overcommitted with his Hellions, just completely sitting back, doesn't want to see any kind of Zergling force come out of this base down the ramp. And looks like he's going to push that spine crawler even further forward, get rid of those Hellions. Really doesn't want him seeing what's going on here. I like this by Seal, very calm, very collected, moving forward at the same time. Alright, so with the forces moving out for Noblesse, in the last game we saw his Hellions get taken out, and that really hurt his ability to push forward here at this point in time. But oh, it might happen to him again as the Zerglings coming forward. I do get a surround on one of those Hellions, getting quite a bit of damage on the other 3, but they will actually go home with about half health, waiting for these Marines and tanks to come forward. There is no siege mode, and it is not even being produced at the moment. Is this a mistake by Noblesse, or is this intentional? I'm gonna have to think that's a mistake there, because you can't really do much with those tanks against these forces, especially on creep. We do have Baneling speed on the way, +1 armor finishing up for Seal as well, getting his 3rd base a lot quicker than Fairy did in the last game. So they're both going to have a 3rd base at roughly the same timing. Alright, so we got turrets going up everywhere for Noblesse, just predicting this Spire. Looking at his vision here though, doesn't actually see much. Doesn't see the Baneling nest, doesn't see the Spire.
I'm in a heap of trouble.
There was one Zergling going forward to see what kind of scouting information. And of course Burrowed Banelings will be in play shortly as well. And Siege Mode is being researched now. It's been going for about 30 seconds. So I'm not sure. I'd have to ask if that was intentional or not later on in the game, because he could have done a lot of damage if he had Siege Mode by then. Moving forward, it was only really a large amount of Zerglings against the Marine tank and Hellions. Not a higher Baneling count either. Could have done quite a bit of damage. But I like the fact here that Seal has moved his creep along the top of the cliff. He's spreading that creep quite quickly along here in case any kind of tank positioning comes down at the bottom of the cliff. And at the same time, he's secured the middle of the map. He's got quite a bit of forces here. 130 supply to 119. Looking at the worker counts, he is 57 to 57, so tied in the worker count there. I wouldn't be surprised to see a big batch of about 20 drones go down now that this 3rd base is up and running. You seem to have the 2 types of Zergs players. One type is the ones who like to oversaturate first and then transfer, and the other type is just wait for that base to go up and then do one big, massive pump of drones. But we'll see how he goes. We've got a lot of Zerglings coming forward now here for Seal. He's coming in from a lot of different directions. There's a very, very large Zergling count, and they're running straight onto those tanks. The Baneling's following up quite a little bit behind there, and look at these. The Marines are actually trapped at the back. Does get cleaned up. There's still 2 tanks up here, but he will be able to force a lift up of the 3rd base for Noblesse. Just way too many Zerglings there. Really nice job for keeping the Banelings back, forcing the Marines to run behind the tanks, and the tanks cleaned up by the Zerglings as they came through. And it worked out quite well for him. He is still 30 supply up. He's still going to have to force. Whoa, and that was a Baneling bomb there as well. As I was looking down here, very nicely done by Seal. And that has put Noblesse very far on the back foot. And look at his creep spread as well. It is absolutely insane. So many tumors going down on the edge of this. And here come the Mutas to follow this up. Okay, so there's still 3 Zerglings here, but Noblesse can't really move out of his base at the moment. There's more Banelings burrowed here. There's also Zerglings in the map. The Mutas coming forward, and look at this. These Zerglings have actually taken out the turrets, so the Mutas will now be able to pressure this 3rd base for Noblesse. Still down 30 supply. Lost quite a few SCVs there, but he is back up to 58. Looking at the resources, lost 10 SCVs total. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a 3rd base being taken by Seal at a very short amount of time. He's got that infestation pit finishing up. Now, a lot of things that do change from Zerg player to Zerg player is every now and then you see someone who does not like the Pathogen Glares upgrade. And we saw yesterday an actually nice scan by Noblesse picking up those Burrowed Banelings. Does he see these ones as well? That is a ridiculous range. I hate it. But, oh, here come the Mutas into the 3rd base. Going to catch those 3 mules, force them off the line, bring a lot of Marines to come and kill that up. But he's going to get a tank as well while he's at it. And does get away with no losses. Is he going to get a medivac as well? Nice stim by Noblesse. Going to try and catch those. Does get 1 Muta. But still, Noblesse still on the back foot. We've got Pathogen Glands being researched here. Another Baneling mine gets quite a few more. And they were there for quite a while. Noblesse doesn't want to move out of his base at all. He just cannot move at the moment. We do have this 4th base over here for Seal. Seal playing very, very solid at the moment. What have we got here? We've got 62 to 84. That is quite a high drone count. Looks like he needs to get some extra gas to go for that for these infestors. He's also got Hive on the way. We do, of course, have that Spire from before, so we can go into the Broodlord infestor style. And that's really going to be dangerous here for Noblesse. He's been on the back foot ever since he first moved out. And just completely crushed by those mass Zerglings. And the Muta's not really doing much at this point in time. There's a lot of turrets everywhere. There's Marines in the main base to defend that as well. And it looks like Noblesse is about to mine out of his base here. We do have, of course, have a sensor tower, but looks like Seal's going to go for it yet again. But look at this, Noblesse being wise this time, staying with the tanks, not running his Marines back prematurely, and focus firing those Banelings to scan even as well to stop any of those Baneling mines going forward. But still, catching up in supply. I'm liking this. Is 150 to 160 supply. Of course, this is mainly due to Seal going for that tech upgrade with the Hive Infestors coming out now, 4 of them with the Pathogen Glands upgrade. Looking here for the upgrades for both of these guys, 2-1 with a +2 attack on the way now for Seal. Whereas Noblesse is already at 2-2 with his +1 weapons finishing up very shortly. And look at that, he's actually spotted a drop with the hatchery with the drop over here on the left. Does force a cancel. So very frustrating for Seal, but luckily he does also have this one over at the top right-hand corner. We've got, of course, both of these Spine Crawlers going to be up for defensive purposes. Greater Spire is on the way. And look at that, we actually see the drop being denied here by the Mutants. Going to clean up, going to lose the Medivac as well. Baneling's rolling in right as the Marines die, but at least didn't have to waste any on 1 or 2 Marines. This sometimes does happen when you're just on autopilot. More barracks being produced here by Noblesse. And this creep spread is starting to look very dangerous here for Seal, because he's got it pretty much 3/4 away across the map, past the center point at the very least, and he's going to have quite a lot of units in a minute. Both of them are pretty much maxed out. Going to have Broodlords on the way, and looks like he's got exactly the amount of supply for those 4 Broodlords. Of course, the Adrenal Glands as well. Keeps those Zerglings as killing machines. And here we go, we do have Noblesse moving out. No scan just yet, but here we go. Nice fungal on the Marines as they come up that ramp. But needs to be careful not to go into those siege tanks. And whoa, those Mutants getting way too close. Takes the volley of the Thor as well. And it looks like Seal is going to have to back up to the Broodlords that he has back here at the ramp to his natural. Also taking 2 extra bases. One has been spotted by Noblesse at the top right. Another one has not down here in the 6 o'clock position. But Seal is just everywhere at the moment. He's going to start getting a trust fund here as well, as he is maxed out. Ultralisk Cavern on the way. So he is going to be able to tech switch very quickly if he wants to. We do see a drop going over here. Looks like it's going to try and deny this base up at the top right. But there are Zerglings coming down. Okay, there's going to be defensive Zerglings at the bottom left-hand corner base for Seal at the same time. And Noblesse looks like he might want to take this middle base. That is generally the favorable choice for a lot of Terrans in this position. But these Broodlords coming forward now are going to be very frustrating. And there's a Stim coming forward to try and deal with those Broodlords. There are Infestors under there to help deal with the fungal. And it has forced Noblesse to actually unsiege and go home. He doesn't really have any Vikings out. A Ghost Academy is almost finished up for him though. 3-3 infantry and +2 vehicle weapons are almost done. And he's going to do a lot of damage with those at the moment. But still, both of them pretty much maxed out. Nice scan. But whoa, what are the Mutants going forward like that for? Do not want them up there, of course. We do see the Broodlords being under attack by that one Viking. And there goes Seal with the fungals on a lot of the Marines. The Banelings coming through as well. Is it going to be enough to clean these up? Doesn't look like it. The Broodlords are now being targeted down by the Marines and the Thors. And Seal is going to have to back up. He's remaxing as quickly as he can. Infested Terrans going down as well. And the siege tanks are actually unsieged. So these Infested Terrans will get out for a few seconds before they are taken out. 5 Ultras in production with a lot of Zerglings. With the Thors here and the tanks, if he leaves them unsieged, do quite a bit of damage to that. But a drop here has spotted this bottom left-hand corner base. And the Marines coming down on autopilot, being picked off one at a time by the Zerglings of Seal. And he's still got a couple of Marines over here, but he has taken out the top right, of course, from earlier. And that's a lot of Infestors now, but a lot of them do not have much energy. Looking at the units count, we don't have any Ghosts just yet. We do have, of course, Mobius Reactor, which is the Ghost energy upgrade. And it looks like Seal are remaking that base. But now that the Marines are 3-3, it changes the game completely. Alright, so that one Marine's got a death wish right there, but he's going to go for it yet again. Lots of the Lings going in at different points in time. And the Ultras coming in from the right-hand side up here at the top, coming in from behind. Infested Terrans going down as well. A lot of the tanks dropping, but the Marines, the 3-3, and the Thors with +2 attack in a second. They had +1 during that attack, just melt through the Ultralisk army. And now both these guys are on a low economy game, just like we saw on this exact same map. Dreamer up against Leon, so it should be good. Now, Seal is going to have a hard time defending this push that's going to come now. He's 40 supply down. He's going to go for a run by here at the moment, but there's enough reinforcements here to really clean these up. Already mixing in Marauders into the mix. Alright. Now we do have some Marines coming down to the 6 o'clock position. But there's enough Banelings and Zerglings here to be able to deal with this, I think. There's this scan going down to try and clear out the creep tumors. Wise choice by Noblesse. But at the same time, because of all the high gas cost of the units to be replaced here by Seal. Whoa, there you go. Good night, Marines. Like I was saying, because of the high gas cost here, it is actually going to be a difficult time for Seal to really remax, because Noblesse is maxed out. He's got nothing to do except for push forward. Doesn't have to do it quickly. He can do it slowly and safely if he wants to. Concussive shells on the way as well. And he's got a sensor towers. He's covering his entire bases. He is mined out in his main and his natural now. But all he has to do is deny these extra bases. We got a drop that was cleaned up just as a second there. He's actually moving into the main. Going to be taken out by those Corruptors. And it looks like Noblesse is moving down here to this 6 o'clock. He does not see... He does see this one over here, but hasn't really been able to put much pressure on it this time. Alright. Still 40 supply down. There's already ghosts on the... Well, actually, no, there's no ghosts on the field. He got the ghost energy upgrade, but didn't actually go for the ghost himself. So Noblesse has taken out that hatchery. I think he just saw the Broodlord, the Ultralisk transition, and then decided to back off on it. Looking here, we got 4 Vikings, nothing more than that really. But as we've seen recently, you really need those fungals in the Baneling count to cover these Broodlords from the Marines stimming forward underneath. That's what happened to Leonok yesterday against Dreamer and Happy, but we see the Broodlords being shelled now by these Vikings. All the creep that took so long to get through this map has been cleared in a matter of seconds. But Seal does have these extra bases still. He's got the top right, top far right as well. Got a lot of spine crawlers here to defend this hatchery at the same time. And Noblesse being really indecisive here. There is 8 Broodlords in total, 18 Banelings. He's actually killed a few units that moved forward at the top. He's actually burrowed them, but Noblesse should have noticed that. Scan going down to clear out the rest of the tumors. I don't think he did. This is gonna hurt you, Noblesse, if you don't pay attention. No, he's actually only gonna send a few units instead of his entire army. That's very, very lucky for Noblesse there. At the same time, there's another Baneling sitting right here. Nice fungal on a lot of these Marines, but he really needs to bring home with the extra reinforcement. There's another fungal as well. Baneling's coming forward, trying to get in the middle of the pack. We'll clean that up. At the same time, there's Broodlords and Queens coming into the middle, trying to manage that. At the same time, we do have Marines down here at the bottom left-hand corner. The battery hasn't actually been even tried to be remade. These spine crawlers are taking a lot of damage now, and it looks like it is now the opposite here for Seal. He's got a lot of gas banked up. His supply capped at 185 off 180. Going to work at this third base, but there's a lot of Vikings here now. There's 8 Vikings in total. There's quite a few Queens, lots of energy on these, so we can transfuse very, very well. It's going to come down to actually trying to get those Banelings to hit off. If he can't get those off and the Marines somehow get a good position underneath it, and there's actually 2 Marines going to... 3 Marines did get one of those spine crawlers. But at the same time, nice fungal on a lot of the Vikings here, and the Corruptors are there to help as well. But there's enough Vikings here that transfuse is going to be very difficult. Targeting down the Corruptors instead of anything else, and these Banelings aren't really being able to be used effectively because of the tanks behind there. And now the Seal is being completely thrown back. The Queens are at the front. They can't run away from the Marines. There's not much energy left on these Infestors. They do get a Nugs fungal off on those Vikings, and one more will actually get a lot of those killed, but it's not going to happen. And no, good night. GG coming out from Seal. Noblesse has a 2-0 start to do everything, and very nicely done indeed. This is, of course, MVP versus NSHoSeo for the KSL tonight. And, of course, MVP up 2-0 with Noblesse. It'll be interesting to see who NSHoSeo bring out next, but we'll find out very shortly.
So, I don't know what I did, but I think I fixed it. Maybe?
So it's been fine for a while?
Yeah.
Better get in the game this time then.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. I was poking around trying to fix the sound, and then when I looked back and finally saw you in the game, we're like, ah, quick, join! Error.
Alright, so just pulling up HoSeo's lineup here. They still have Tassadar, Jack G, they have Sculp, all in the lineup. It is a best of 11, remember, so we do have at least 4 more games to go at the very minimum. That's if Noblesse all kills then. So, I don't know, there's HoSeo's lineup, they have very strong players, but a lot of them aren't as deep as a lot of the other teams. Simply because they're very new. They have a lot of players, but some of them... Oh, there's also Sage in the mix there, of course, their team captain. How could I forget Sage? Although Sage hasn't been performing as well as he used to these days, which is unfortunate to see.
Hasn't been quite giving that same level of play, so we'll see who they put out next. It's been 2 Zergs, and Noblesse looked like he was in varying levels of trouble at the start of the game, then just drug it out to the late game and just pretty much lamed it out. Go for a super late game, Marine, Tank, Viking, Ghost, and just, you know, control really well. It's really tough to deal with if they get to that point. So I imagine they're going to throw something different at him.
Could be interesting. Of course, I think they're just deciding on the player now. The losing team does get to pick the next player and the next map as well. So, it's going to be an interesting choice for NSHoSeo. Of course, it is the middle of the holiday season, so some players might not even be available. As yesterday, I believe, so far we've had July, couldn't play in the StarTale versus Prime match. ASD couldn't play for FXO yesterday just because they're all on holidays. So we'll find out in a second. Just waiting for a game invite at this point in time for the next game. And we'll get this started, shall we, Relko? I have a game invite.
Wasn't there an all kill in the Prime versus StarTale?
No. It was actually 6-5 in favor of someone, but I'm not going to tell you who. Right, looks like it's actually going to be San. NSHoSeo San, formerly San Zenith. Has appeared in the GSL a couple of times. Was defeated by a Chef when he was over there, if I recall correctly. So this is going to be very interesting, see how he can go. We've seen Noblesse play well in 2 TVZs. Let's find out if San can give him a run for his money. But it's going to be a tough job. Noblesse definitely a strong player, to say the least.
What is this map again?
Calm Before the Storm.
Right.
It looks weird in the...
I've only seen this a couple times, yeah.
It looks weird in the tile set, but you know exactly what it is as soon as you get into the game. Not really played in many tournaments at the moment. Very new map. I do like it a little bit.
Yeah, I've only seen it like on the GSL a couple times up to this point. Like, it hasn't come up a whole lot, so... Be interesting to see some more games on it.
Yeah, we should. Alright, looks like we're ready to go. And players are ready, casters are ready. Let's get this match underway, shall we? Alrighty, map is loading. MVP Noblesse against NSHoSeo San. We are, of course, San is not Zerg. I better change that real quick. Alrighty, here we go. And welcome back, everyone. Game number 3 here for the KSL. MVP versus NSHoSeo. I am Unstable, joined here by Relkoon. We are going to have, of course, MVP up against NSHoSeo. And I said that twice because I didn't see the names in the second time round. Noblesse versus San. Of course, Noblesse currently on a 2-0 kill streak. But San hasn't really been seen in a little bit, but he's still been practicing hard. Wouldn't be surprised to see him take down Noblesse, especially on this map. Late game PvT on this map is very frustrating for Terrans these days. So we'll have to see here. And Relkin, I'm going to put my camera on you for a second so I can go get a drink of water, alright?
Alright, so, I mean, we're watching both players here, and there's nothing really too interesting going on. This map, I haven't seen a lot of play on it myself up to this point, so I'm not entirely sure how the early game is going to go, but Pair vs. Protoss is still kind of crazy at the moment. There's a lot of different options. A lot of it's going to come down to what Noblesse decides to do in the early game, so watching him a little bit more carefully. San is most likely just going to go for some form of a quick expansion. Ooh, look at this though. Noblesse sending out 2 SCVs. Okay, looks like he was going to be sending out the double scout, but it's actually just hiding the second barracks over here, over a ways. So he's trying to put this in a position where it's going to be a little bit closer to both bases. If it's over here, it's obviously going to be a little bit closer, but it's still going to be the good proxy second barracks. Be able to put a little bit more pressure onto his Protoss opponent here in the early game. And it looks like San has actually gone for the Nexus first in base here. So he's going to have to get some units out pretty quickly. Looks like Noblesse is going to try and punish the fact that on these maps with the in-base expansions, a lot of players do like to try and go for that Nexus first. And we'll see if he can do that successfully or not. He's got his second barracks in that kind of proxy position. As long as well, pretty much any of these bases would cut down on the rush distance by a minor amount. I think the only base that wouldn't really matter too much against is the one that San is in, though, unfortunately.
Alrighty, sorry about that, I'm back.
Since it's all the way over here on the left, probably only saves 1 or 2 seconds. But look at this. Noblesse going for the punish on the Nexus first. He went for 2 racks and trying to predict it, and San did go for it. Force the second gateway from San before the Cybernetics course. He's going to try and get out a bunch of zealots, but there's bunkers going down unstable.
It hasn't been seen by San either. Oh my god, and there's actually extra SCVs coming with these as well. The downside to this is usually you put these bunkers down near the Nexus, so you can actually force the Nexus cancel, or even better yet, kill it completely. But he's going to have to leapfrog forward pretty heavily with these bunkers here at the moment. There is of course 1 zealot going to be finished up in a second. There's SCVs to buffer a little bit here, and there's 3 Marines and that bunker ready to go. And is the second bunker going to get up? That's the question.
If you can hit these gateways, that'll be pretty much the same effect. Because without the production, then San won't be able to do a single thing. In the second bunker, there's really no way San can stop this from going down. You can see it's just about to finish. There comes a 3rd bunker, and that one would be in position to try and hit that Nexus.
Whoa, getting a lot of damage on that Stalker. That is not what San needed right there. Really needs to... Oh my god, that is the worst possible spot for the Stalker to come out. That goes down as well. He's losing a lot of probes here at the same time.
3rd bunker's gonna finish too while he's skirmishing with the Marines. He's got to focus down.
He got the zealot
on the bunker. If this one goes down, that's pretty much it. There's the GG from San.
That was very quick and an entertaining game right there. I went to get a drink and came back and it was over. But very nicely done by Noblesse. Unfortunate that San didn't actually see that first bunker come down. But that means Noblesse is on a 3-0 win streak right now. He's half the way there for winning it for MVP. NSHoSeo have a very hard, are going to have a very hard time coming back from this one, I think, here, Railcoon.
Yeah, that was just a good play by Noblesse. Like, on maps like that, we saw a lot of Protoss like to go Nexus first on Crevasse. And he just went for that blind 2 racks. If that didn't work out, it's just 2 racks. It's no big deal if that fails. He can transition into a normal build, and he just happened to catch San playing a bit greedy with that Nexus first. The map isn't quite as large rush distance-wise as Crevasse, so it's not as safe.
Yeah.
And he's just able to micro that and get those bunkers down.
Alrighty, so looking at the Hoso lineup still, we have Sage, Barnbarns, Tassadar, and Sculp remaining. They, of course, can only play 3 of those. I think we're going to see Sculp, Tassadar, and Sculp, Jackgy, and Sage, or Tassadar instead of Sculp. Those are going to be the final 3 players I think we're going to see here from NSHoSeo. But Noblesse playing very well today. So we'll see.
I'd probably expect to see Tassadar, but I don't know. Depends on who's available.
Yeah. And I walked to the fridge in the office, and I realized I'm one of those people who like gets a whole heap of different bottles, and then if there's not enough left in it, to fill the whole cup, I just leave it there and open a new one. So I got like 4 or 5 half.
Oh, you're one of those idiots.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now I got a whole heap of like tiny little bits left in each bottle to drink up.
Or you just like...
I'm lazy, man. Leave me alone.
I'm lazy, but I'm not that lazy.
Alright, so we're just waiting for the next map and player choice by NSHoSeo, currently in a pretty bad way, down 0-3 to MVP. But we'll see how they want to come back against it. Alright. Okay, so what map do you think they're going to go with, Railcoon? They of course have a very wide array of choices, but it didn't look like Noblesse wanted to play a macro game against Sun on Calm Before the Storm. So another very large map might be in their best interest.
He didn't pull the SCVs until after he scouted the Nexus first, though. Like,
Yeah.
he got that second Ferris in the proxy position, so he'd be able to apply pressure. And if he'd scouted a more normal build, he could have just done that without as many SCVs and still applied a good amount of pressure.
Yeah.
So I think it was just a good reaction from Noblesse. I don't necessarily think it was... That was his goal going in, is I'm going to 2-rack bunker the crap out of him on
game's up, by the way.
Calm Before the Storm.
And it's going to be Tal'Darim Alta up next. It looks like it might actually be Tassadar. If I'm reading this Korean right, we'll find out in a second if someone translates it for us.
Yeah, the KSL guy usually says before he hits the start.
Oh, it's actually going to be Sage. Excellent. Love watching Sage play. As let me just update this. Sage. All right.
So they've sent 2 Zergs, now they're sending 2 Protoss.
And then 2 Terrans to follow it up, which will probably be Sculp and Jack G. But not the point. All right, we are ready to go here. Players are ready. Casters are ready. Let's get this game started, shall we? Or not. Just gonna wait a little bit.
Sage just said he's ready. I don't know if Noblesse has said anything yet. So we might be waiting on Noblesse here for a second. I mean, you just killed 3 guys in a row.
Yeah.
There's like a minute to get up and stretch.
Yeah.
And it's get back to work. Everybody calls your blinds a whiteboard.
Yeah, I just opened them. And then they can see a real whiteboard if they want to. Alright, here's the countdown timer. Let's get this started, Railcoon.
I think it's because the frame between the 2 windows there looks like that metal strip that's always in the center of a big whiteboard.
Yeah.
We're not spoiling results. Ask somebody in chat, Kev.
Alright. Alrighty, welcome back everyone. Game number 4 here for the KSL. MVP versus NSHoSeo. I am Unstable, joined here by Railcoon for this series, which we are finally out of technical problems, thankfully. As I say, that's something's probably going to break, but whatever. We have NSHoSeo Sage up against MVP Noblesse for this one. Tal'Darim Alta, cross position spawns, and Noblesse currently on a 3-0 streak. So it is, of course, a best of 11 for this GSTL style match. Now, Noblesse is in a very good spot here. He's done his best for his team. They still have very heavy hitters to come in behind this. Sage, one of the higher ranks internally for NSHoSeo. Also, the team captain has got a very fanatic fan base as well.
Yes, fanatic is a pretty good way to put that. They get very, very upset whenever he loses. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. We did see a very aggressive build from Noblesse this last game, but that could just be partially due to the map. With those maps of the in-base expansions, people tend to take that risk of going for the expansion first quite often.
Yeah.
And especially since that one is a little bit smaller than the other maps we've seen like that, you're just able to punish that really easily. So would not be surprised to see a bit more of a normal build from Noblesse here. It's Tal'Darim. I mean, he's pretty much more comfortable here. He did actually go with the barracks into a really quick refinery here. So we'll see what he's actually going to go for, because that's a pretty fast refinery. He dropped those like at the same time almost.
Yeah, a lot of people actually prefer to go for the gasless expand on this one from the Terran point of view. So Sage is going to have a chance to see what's going on. Sage very unorthodox with his style, catches a lot of people off guard. There's a lot of Archon drops, even does DT drops. Actually called out FXO's Lucky in GSL with like a 6 DTs drop, and he just killed the lair and ran away before anything could really be done about it. So I really want to see what kind of strategy he's going to use here. But of course we do see a second Marine coming out of that barracks. So we actually might see a factory go down in a second, because he is getting close to 100 gas. Has forced the probe back with his first Marine. So
that's what it looks like. Yeah, there goes the factory. So
yep.
Which direction is he going to go with this? I mean, this is the problem when a Terran opens with this. If it gets scouted, he almost wants to let the probe in here and then kill it, just so that it creates that "what are you doing" moment for Sage.
Oh, but here comes
like,
the probe.
Are you 1-1-1ing or are you not? Like, because this is pretty ambiguous.
That'd be a very, very silly thing to do on this map. Go for a 1-1-1.
It's true, but like, you start off with this opening, he sees this much, and he's like, "Are you actually gonna 1-1-1 on this map?" And it creates that like seed of a doubt, you know.
All right, so that probe is finally cleaned up. He has been spotted with the reactor and the factory here, though. For Sage's vision, there's a bunker going at the top of this ramp here. That's an interesting spot too. Normally they put it more to the left a little bit to stop flanking coming from the bottom of the ramp and from the right-hand side. So we'll see how that goes. Stalker chasing down the SCV scout though. We'll actually be able to take him out. And of course Sage going for your very standard 1 gate expand.
Yeah, and at the same time, Noblesse has switched the factory over onto the reactor as double producing the Hellions. This is something I've been seeing a little bit more often in this matchup, is people out putting up with the Hellion harass against Protoss.
Yeah.
And not even just the, oh, he's going Hellion Marauder.
Yes.
Okay, so he's going to do the Hellion Marauder pressure with the concussive shells. If you micro this really well and your opponent doesn't expect it, then this can do a good amount of damage. But given the fact that Sage is positioning his stalkers like that, I think he's a bit suspicious. He did scout the factory and the reactor on the barracks.
Although look at the positioning here by Sage. You've got Pylon and 3 Stalkers, not going to allow any Hellions to get into his base. I do like this. I don't think, like you're saying, I don't think he's got any idea that these Marauders are going to come with him as well. So he's going to actually be overcommitting to Stalkers in this situation due to those Hellions. And that's going to play well into Noblesse's style here.
Yeah, but there's an extra gateway just about to finish. Robotics facility is on the way. There's only 2 Marauders out with a couple Marines. SV is coming along for the ride to apply a little bit more pressure by trying to start a bunker, most likely, just to create that panic on Sage's end and maybe see if he'll jump the gun and try and attack it too soon.
Yeah.
It's a good move when you're doing this kind of thing, because sometimes people see
actually, right now, looking at the units tab, this is not looking good for Sage at all. 4 Stalkers, 1 Sentry, and there's quite a lot of Marauders to follow this up. They're running across the map now as well. More Hellions coming through. There is a bunker there, and Sage in a lot of trouble. He's got that Observer finishing up. If he can try and get an Immortal out quickly, that'll work out well, but he's actually being forced to pull back. The Marauder's doing a lot of damage to the Stalker, and even if you can't go into the main base, you can still attack this Nexus.
Yeah, that was really, really bad by Sage. He doesn't want to take this much damage on his units. He needs to wait for the Immortal, but he's also trying to save the Nexus. Why is he killing it? He's trying to supply block him. Okay, so he's going to take out that Pylon, and this is going to be really close. The Immortal is so close to finishing. Sage is probably going to attack the moment that finishes. Oh, he's roasted the Sentry with the Hellions, catching Sage completely off guard. Without that Sentry, it's going to be very difficult for him. He's not going to have any Guardian Shields, not any Force Fields. The Nexus, he's just going to have to give it up at this point without that Sentry.
Yeah, and Noblesse does have his own command center finishing up, being morphed into an orbital now as well. But he needs to be careful not to go into this concave for Sage, or he's going to come out in a world of hurt. We, of course, don't really have that many Marauders in the mix at the moment. There's only 4 of them there. There is that Immortal, of course, and a lot of Stalkers. But the Hellion count is getting to the point where if you can get a lot of damage in a line, they still do a fair amount of damage with these packs. Like you do see sometimes we have enough Hellions with upgrades, they actually start one-shotting like 10 roaches at once just because there's so many of them. So
yeah, it actually works against Stalkers as well.
Yeah, well, but as you say that, 1 Hellion goes down as Sage pokes out, but I think he's realized he's actually going to cut his losses here. Noblesse going to come home. There's a lot of Hellions there, of course. and he is going back into lots of Marines and Stim. So that'll work out well for him. He's actually kept Sage on that one base. Lost a lot of units as well. 825 minerals lost for Sage.
Yeah, the problem is that army from Sage is actually pretty scary right now. Third Immortal is about to pop out. So if Sage actually goes across the map and tries to make something happen, this could be kind of scary. The only problem is that Sage is going to be very hesitant to do that because of all the Hellions. So he has to figure out some way to make sure he can do that without the Hellions getting into his base. And if he's able to figure